Welcome back, everyone, to Sip and Talk. Glad you can join us again.
Hey, everyone. Yeah, good to be back.
So today we're diving into something pretty significant. It's always in the headlines, it feels like.
You mean the whole Taiwan Strait situation and the U.S.-China tensions?
Exactly that. Yeah, this sort of ongoing military friction there. We want to look at it from a few different angles, get the big picture.
Sounds good. It's definitely a topic with a lot of layers.
Okay, so let's maybe kick things off at the South China Sea. There were some really strong words recently from Admiral Stephen Kohler, U.S. Pacific Fleet Commander.
Ah, yes. I saw that. He didn't mince words, did he?
Not at all. He straight up called China's tactics bullying. That's a powerful term coming from a top military official. What exactly is he pointing to there?
Well, bullying is a strong word, but it reflects what a lot of observers and, frankly, other countries in the region have been saying. He's talking about China's, let's call it assertive behavior.
Assertive like?
Like building those huge artificial islands for starters. And not just building them, but putting military facilities on them, runways, missile systems, radar, that kind of thing.
Right, turning reefs into fortresses, basically.
Pretty much. And then there's the way their Coast Guard and maritime militia operate. These are technically civilian boats, but they work very closely with the military.
Blurring the lines a bit.
Exactly. And they've been involved in, well, interfering with other countries' ships. We've seen reports, pretty credible ones, of them using water cannons.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Against Philippine boats.
Philippine supply boats, yeah. And even aiming powerful lasers, which is incredibly dangerous. Or just maneuvering really aggressively, risking collisions.
Wow. Lasers, okay.
Yeah, and all this flies in the face of international law, especially that 2016 ruling from the Arbitration Tribunal, which basically said China's sweeping claims didn't hold water legally.
So water cannons and lasers in international waters sounds pretty intense. Not exactly standard maritime practice.
Not even close. It's seen as highly provocative by the U.S. and its allies.
Okay, so if that's what China's doing, this kind of aggressive pushing, what did that actually mean for the other countries nearby? How are they and the U.S. responding?
That's really the core issue. The U.S., through the Pacific Fleet, like Admiral Kohler commands, keeps talking about freedom of navigation.
The FONOPs, right. Freedom of navigation operations.
Right. They sail their ships, fly their planes through these areas regularly, sometimes with allies, basically to signal, hey, these are international waters, open to everyone.
Making the point.
Exactly. And you're seeing countries in the region react too. Look at the Philippines under President Marcos Jr. They're taking a much firmer line than the previous administration.
Pushing back more.
Definitely. They're more vocal about Chinese actions, especially around places like Second Thomas Shoal, and they're actively seeking more support from the U.S.
And it's not just the Philippines stepping up.
No, allies like Australia and Japan are also getting more involved. More patrols, more joint exercises in the South China Sea. It feels like a more coordinated effort to uphold those international norms China's seen as challenging.
Okay, makes sense. Now, China must have a response to all this.
Yeah.
Right? They can't be happy being called bullies.
Oh, absolutely not. Their standard response is usually to dismiss these criticisms as, smearing or interference by outside powers, mainly the U.S.
The external forces.
They frame their island building and patrols as perfectly legitimate actions within their own sovereign territory and waters. They basically say, mind your own business, this is our neighborhood.
And they accuse the U.S. of stirring things up with its patrols.
Yes, exactly. They paint the U.S. freedom of navigation operations as the real provocation. It's a consistent narrative.
You could almost picture them, like on Instagram or something, posting videos of their J-20 jets flying over the strait, like, look what I did today. #sovereignty.
Yeah, maybe not Instagram, but you get the idea. Projecting strength and dismissing criticism.
Okay, so sticking with strategy and alliances, there's another big development. Reports, or I think the Financial Times broke this, that the U.S. is now kind of leaning on its allies, specifically Japan and Australia.
Yes, asking them point blank, essentially. If a conflict breaks out over Taiwan and the U.S. gets involved, what exactly will you do to help?
That sounds very direct. Like, put your cards on the table, guys.
It is very direct. And the figure really pushing this line of thinking is reported to be Albridge Colby. He was Under Secretary of Defense for Policy.
Colby.
Yeah.
I remember his name coming up. Wasn't there some controversy about him and like Ukraine aid or something?
There were reports, suggesting he wanted to pause aid to Ukraine to focus resources on Asia. The U.S. denied it, but it paints a picture of someone very focused on the China challenge.
Okay, so what's his big idea then? Why this direct push on allies?
Colby's whole philosophy revolves around deterrence, specifically deterring China from, well, dominating the region. And he really hammers home this idea of scarcity.
Scarcity, like not enough resources to go around.
Exactly. Limited ships, planes, missiles, people. His argument is, because resources are scarce, the U.S. has to concentrate its military power almost entirely on Asia to effectively deter China, even if that means pulling back from places like Europe or the Middle East.
Wow. So a major shift in focus. Peace through strength, but like really focus strength in one spot.
That's a good way to put it. Prioritize Asia above almost everything else to prevent a war there.
Okay, but how are Japan and Australia reacting to being put on the spot like this? Are they just saying, okay, boss, whatever you need? Or is there pushback?
Oh, there's definitely frustration being reported. Puts them in a really tough position.
Why is that?
Well, think about it. The U.S. itself still maintains its policy of strategic ambiguity towards Taiwan.
Meaning they won't say for sure if they defend Taiwan militarily.
Correct. So the U.S. is asking allies for concrete commitments, troops, bases, logistical support, without actually making its own commitment clear. Allies are basically saying, how can we plan our specific role if we don't know your exact plan?
Yeah, that seems awkward. Tell us what you'll do, but we won't tell you what we'll do.
It creates friction. And remember, this isn't the first time. There were tensions under the Trump administration about defense spending targets for allies, too.
Right, the whole pay your fair share thing.
Exactly. And Colby himself has apparently expressed doubts about things like the IU submarine deal.
The nuclear subs for Australia. Why doubts?
Mainly the timeline. Those subs won't arrive for, decades. He questions if these big, long-term, expensive projects are actually relevant to a potential conflict that could happen much sooner. Is it the right investment for the immediate challenge?
So it's like the U.S. is the team captain in a game of League of Legends, yelling in the pregame chat, okay, I'm taking top lane. Who's got mid? Japan, what skills you got?
Huh? And Japan's like, well, I have some skills, but my HP is kind of low.
And Australia's chiming in, I can support maybe, but my ping is terrible. The subs won't connect for ages.
Exactly. It captures that dynamic of trying to coordinate a team where everyone's hesitant or unsure about the plan or their capabilities.
Okay, this is clearly a super complex situation with huge strategic implications.
Yeah.
But let's bring it back home. Why should, you listening right now care about all this maneuvering in the Pacific? It feels far away.
It really does feel far away, but the connections are surprisingly direct. Let's start with the economy. Your wallet.
Okay, you have my attention.
Taiwan.
Semiconductors.
TSMC. You hear about it all the time.
The chips, right? Computer chips.
Not just computer chips.
Yeah.
The most advanced chips. Over 90% of them come from Taiwan. Mostly TSMC. They're in your phone, your car, your laptop, your smart fridge. Everything.
Literally everything electronic.
Pretty much. So imagine a conflict disrupting that supply chain. It wouldn't just be an inconvenience. It could genuinely cripple global industries. Forget your next iPhone upgrade. Your current phone might become, like those old Nokia bricks someone joked about.
Okay, yeah. Turning my smartphone into a brick, that hits home. It's like Taiwan semiconductors are Earth's CPU, basically.
That's a perfect analogy. If that CPU goes down, the whole system grinds to a halt.
Okay, economy. Terrifying. What else?
Yeah.
Beyond just the chips.
Well, there's the military reality itself. China's military has modernized incredibly quickly. Huge navy, advanced air force, lots of missiles. They're a major regional power, no question.
And Taiwan.
Taiwan's much smaller, obviously, but they're not sitting ducks. They're focusing on what's called asymmetric warfare, or an erosion defense, making an invasion incredibly costly for China. More missiles, longer conscription.
Like the neighbor's kid with a stick, daring the bigger kid to come closer. Come on, I bite, sort of thing.
Something like that. Make it painful, make it not worth the price. Then you have the U.S. with its carrier groups and air power. Japan's buying hundreds of Tomahawk cruise missiles. That's a big deal for their offensive capability.
Extending their reach significantly.
And Australia, with the long-term plan for those AUKUS nuclear subs we mentioned. So you have a lot of military hardware building up in a relatively small area. The potential for miscalculation is...
Oh, it's high.
Definitely sounds like a crowded, intense neighborhood. What about the legal side? International law. That's another huge point of friction. China insists Taiwan is an internal affair, purely domestic. They reject any international involvement or ruling on it.
So, nothing to see here, world, move along.
basically. But most other countries, especially the U.S. and its allies, emphasize international law, the importance of self-determination, freedom of navigation. They argue these principles do apply.
So it's like China saying this is just family business, and the UN is sort of standing outside knocking, saying, excuse me, we have some international norms here. Also, we brought cake.
Huh. Yeah, maybe without the cake. But it's that fundamental disagreement. Internal matter versus international concern creates a constant diplomatic deadlock.
And we have to mention the human side of this too, right? Things did escalate.
Absolutely. The potential humanitarian cost is staggering. Taiwan is densely populated. A conflict could mean millions of refugees, massive civilian casualties. International aid organizations would be overwhelmed. It's a truly grim prospect.
And nowadays, conflict isn't just boots on the ground, is it? There's the whole cyber dimension.
Oh, completely. Cyber warfare, AI. These aren't sci-fi anymore. They'd be central. Imagine cyber attacks taking down Taiwan's power grid, or financial systems, or communications, using AI to sift through data for targeting.
Like hacking your smart fridge becomes a national security issue.
Maybe not quite the fridge, but critical infrastructure, definitely. It adds another layer of vulnerability and complexity to the whole situation.
Man, it really is this intricate, high-stakes dance, isn't it? Everything's connected. What happens over there really can send ripples everywhere, affecting the global economy, our technology, security, just everything.
It really underscores that delicate balance nations are constantly trying to strike, between their economic needs and their security concerns. And understanding it, well, it takes more than just a quick headline glance.
Yeah, you need to look at all the different pieces, the different perspectives.
Exactly. And hopefully our chat today helps you, the listener, do just that. Think critically, see the different angles, and form your own informed view.
That's what we aim for here at Sip&Talk. Just laying out the information, different viewpoints, so you can make sense of it all. We're definitely not here to point fingers or take sides against any country or group.
It's all about understanding the complex world we live in, providing context.
Couldn't agree more. Well, that's probably a good place to wrap up our main discussion for today.
Sounds good. A lot to think about.
Definitely. And hey, before you go, make sure you hit that subscribe button for Sip&Talk wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss our next conversation.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
And speaking of subscribing, you should also check out our old friend Mickey's YouTube channel. It's called Mickytolife.
Oh, yeah, Mickey. What's he up to?
All sorts of cool stuff. Memes, music, wine tasting videos, which sounds dangerous, and these really fun travel vlogs. Seriously, his recent Korea trip looked amazing.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. And I heard he somehow became the Guagua King. What even is a Guagua King? Is that a thing?
A Guagua King? No idea. Sounds like a question for Mickey. Go check out his channel, Mickytolife.
Definitely do that. All right, folks, thanks for joining us.
See you next time.
We'll catch you on the next Sip&Talk.